we just sat here and tried to figure out how to get this fucking shit going because we use GarageBand to record. And for whatever reason, because we switched up the equipment that we use recently within the last episode, you'll probably be able to hear the difference.
Mm.
And for whatever reason, I just couldn't get it working. I mean, we sat here. We probably were here for like 25 minutes or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had it all working because before this, before recording the episode, we always talk a little bit, hearing ourselves within the headphones. I feel like just to kind of get prepped into it. And everything was prepped. Everything was good. Everything was working fine. And then all of a sudden, all this shit just fucks up. Can't hear anything. The mics aren't working. They're not. I don't know. They're not fusing with GarageBand. Whatever.
Not picking up any sound.
Yeah, nothing. Fucking nothing. Shit was stupid annoying. Whatever, man. Whatever. That just threw me into like a bad mood. But fuck it, whatever, man. You know, well, I want to talk about on the drive over here. On the fucking drive over here, because I got fucking held up by a fucking train. So I was sat there for a minute. I opened up my phone and I went on YouTube, and there was a video. I don't know. It was just a video in It was just a video on YouTube that I had seen like on the Explorer. Some dude named like Phoenix Ho or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And basically the video was titled "Learning Languages Ruined My Life," and it was like 4 minutes and 24 seconds. If you guys want to go check that out, it's on YouTube. Phoenix Ho, "Learning Languages Ruined My Life."
Mm-hmm.
And so I watched
Wait.
this video.
Is this the guy that goes around speaks different languages to people, or
Maybe
he
he's
goes
like
around?
he's like an Asian looking guy.
Mm,
You know what I'm talking about?
no, the guy that I'm watching is the guy that I used to. Some of his videos used to come up on my recommended. No, that's not the guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just showed him who it is. But anyways, he had brought up. So the video, I clicked on the video, right? Because I was sat here waiting for this fucking train to leave. Anyways, and in the video, he talks about how learning languages is. He brings up a lot of interesting points. Basically, he kind of talks about how when he started to learn new languages, it really started to change his perspective on a lot of things. Because he brings up history for one. That obviously, for anybody who lives in America, or even if you live in another country, you read history, or when you're reading and you're learning about history, I mean, you tend to learn about history that's written by, whatever country that you're in. It tends to be written, if you're in America, it tends to be written by Americans, like all your little history books. And if you're in the UK, I would imagine that it's written by people in the UK as well. And so he said that when you basically learn the new languages and you can read and essentially that you can read things in other languages and you can see different perspectives of it. It just really opens your eyes up to
different points of view of history, right?
Yeah, different points of view to history. And it's just, again, he talks about poetry that just, obviously you can get things translated, but he says that he says that reading poetry in like the native language of whatever poetry you're reading is just a very different experience. And he talks about how, I think he talks about Farsi poems that are written in Farsi. I believe that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe that was what he had talked about. That it's just very beautiful poetry. It's like something like he's never read, and obviously you wouldn't be able to read it if you only knew English. Because obviously when you start to translate different languages, it does start to get it's not going to be perfect, right?
Right.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure anybody who speaks a second language and has read something that's translated, sometimes you'll read it and you'll be like, man, like that's right, but that's not like really right. Like
the grammar is different, and
it's hard to translate grammar.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of a. And he also brought up a good point in saying that when you start to learn more, you realize, and I'm pretty sure you can relate to this, because I feel like this just goes with anything. Whenever you start to learn more about something, you realize how much you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like when you start to get, I don't want to say smarter, because I feel like smarter isn't the proper term. I feel like that's a whole nother conversation to be had about what's considered like native intelligence or natural intelligence. But like I just feel like when you start to become more knowledge or more versed in any subject, I feel like it'll just open you up to the reality that there's just so much that you as an individual you just couldn't learn. Yeah. It's just not enough time in the day. It's just not enough years, man. Like it's just so much. Let me chill though, because I feel like I thinking back now to this fucking past portion, I feel like I was just being like mad depressing.
Mm-hmm.
All I meant to say was it's just like when you start to learn more, you realize there's just a lot that you don't know, and that's
Yeah.
all right. So it's not that big of a deal.
Right,
But let's fucking talk about gas though,
bro.
because if you live in fucking America, I'm pretty sure anywhere in America.
Oh no, anywhere
Yeah.
around the world right now, dude.
Is it everywhere around the world?
Dude, Europe has crazy prices.
This as
right
well?
now. Yeah.
Damn, well, I guess I'm just being ignorant. Well, if you live anywhere on planet Earth, then gas is fucked.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, it's just
I mean,
fucked.
anywhere on Earth, you've heard the news that gas is just
No, yeah,
crazy
gas
high
is
right now.
skyrocketing, man. I think it's just I don't know. I've heard a lot of things, and I don't really want to speak too much because I feel like there's a good chance that I'm gonna get it wrong. So I don't really want to speak too much, and I'm not even gonna sit here and put blame, like on the president or anyone in particular. I think it's just I think it is like they say it is an accumulation of multiple things.
Right.
Whatever. We don't really need to get into that. I don't really want to get into the politics of that. And truthfully, I don't really know enough for me to be even diving into that. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably just be speaking a bunch of bullshit. But you could see it because fucking gas is stupid expensive.
Yeah.
And if you drive what is it right now here in Chicago for premium?
Premium, it's average like $5.59 to $5.79.
$5.59 to $5.79.
A
Dog,
gallon.
that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
It's about to be $6 fucking dollars. I think it's the most expensive it's ever been in history.
Yeah.
Like here in the U.S., right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy, bro. No, yeah, because shit, I'm even driving. I'm putting in that 87 regular, but even that shit is still.
Mad expensive.
No, yeah, even that shit's still within the. You're still within like the four. I want to say like 450 maybe, something like that. I haven't filled up in a while, thankfully. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but last time I checked, it was like 449 or 450, something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always fill up for work. It's
Right.
always regular gas, and it's like $4.59.
459.
Yeah.
Damn. No, yeah, shit is rough. Cause even for regular gas, bro, 459 is fucking crazy, dude.
That's how much I was filling up for like how much a premium gas was a gallon like a few months ago.
Right?
Like 2 months ago, it was like that.
No, yeah, shit is fucked, dude.
It started skyrocketing in like just a while ago. So
Right.
just crazy with the prices.
Oh yeah, that shit's gonna make me lose my fucking soul, man.
Dude.
But speaking of fucking gas, though, we the last time that we got together and we recorded the last episode of the podcast, we started watching. I didn't know about this. You had told me about this, so maybe you want to say it about. Well, we can talk about Pines Peak first.
Oh, yeah. I mean, shit. Pikes Peak. It's
So we had like
it's like
basically like we had encountered a video of people. They had these like Dodge Chargers and shit, and they were like professional drivers, and they were driving on Pines Peak, which is
it's a pretty big mountain. I don't know exactly how high, how long the road is, but it's a mountain in Colorado. Lots of curves, twists, sharp corners on the road that you have to be careful with if you're trying to do this like time trial. I've seen videos of crashes, like drivers like take the corner too fast, they don't let off the gas, something like that, and their whole car just like falls down the mountain. Which
there's no guardrails. I mean,
Yeah,
even if you were going super fast, the guardrails aren't gonna do shit anyways.
yeah.
But like, there's just nothing to stop you from slowing down. It's
The-
just
Yeah, there's a reason why, like, for regulations require
right.
roll cages, helmets, harnesses, fire extinguishers, like all of these things in your car, because you roll off the mountain, it's gonna be a while before somebody gets down to you.
Yo, oh fuck, we definitely cut off like a big fucking portion because for whatever reason, I don't know, in the middle of recording this, we were just talking about people falling off the fucking mountain. I don't know, we just started dying, and I was just like, I didn't even want to put it in, and so we just kept cutting it because we just kept laughing. But I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it in. So
Keep it going.
yeah, just keep it going. Whatever. It's just yeah, it was just stupid. But but I know you were talking about the different cars that they had in the video for what they were racing there.
Yeah. So in the video they showed a Dodge Challenger, a Hellcat Red Eye SRT, longest name in the book.
Right.
On the mountain, which is crazy because you think of those cars, you think of a drag racing car. You don't think of it as a twist and turns type of car, cornering.
Right.
But
Because the tires are adjusted too. Not to interrupt you, but yeah, the tires were.
Yeah, like even when you get it from a dealership, the Red Eye, the Hellcat, like they come with drag tires, basically drag street tires. That's what
Oh
they come with.
shit.
Like very little traction for like wet roads and stuff. So it's crazy that they made something like that into a car for time trials.
Yeah, because for the ones that they're racing on the mountain, they were using the tires are like flat, right? You said that it's you were explaining to me that
They're
they
like
use a different material and they're
yeah,
flattened.
they're like bald basically.
Yeah,
They
not
look
flattened, bald.
they basically look bald, but it's a special compound to help get more grip on the road.
Right.
So which is pretty cool, So imagine having some tires like that on the street road. You'd be making you could make some pretty sharp turns.
Yeah. And from the video, the road seemed good on like fucking Chicago. But
Yeah.
yeah, the road seemed like good there. They
Yeah,
were like
yeah.
very smooth. So yeah, it makes sense that they would have that there.
Yeah, and there's a multitude of cars that they use. They use the Challenger. I've seen a video where they use the Bentley. Fucking Bentley. You think a Bentley like luxury. This thing costs like 250 grand.
They were just fucking around.
Yeah, and they put crazy wings, lips, all on this car. Just to help the aerodynamics of it.
Yeah.
And speaking of aerodynamics, there's this I don't know what you would call it, world record I guess that tries to get beaten every year called the Cannonball Run. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah, right. Is it the Cannonball Run or the Cannonball Route? Is it the Cannonball Route?
Cannonball Run.
Is it Run?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So yeah, you guys can look this up for yourself. It's all on YouTube and shit.
yeah,
Go ahead.
there's actually really cool stories of it. Some of the cars that they modified to make them not only aerodynamic but to make them like blend in to look like regular traffic, because the whole point of the Cannonball Run is to beat the world record of going across the United States from a garage in New York to a hotel in California. I forgot exactly what
Was
part.
it L.A. or San Francisco?
I think it was L.A.
Was it L.A.?
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around L.A.
I think it's either L.A. or San Francisco, but
Yeah.
it might be L.A. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's one of those two. So basically, the southwest portion of California is where they're trying to get to in a matter of like beating the world record. And I think
Yeah.
the record right now stands at 26 hours and some minutes. I can't remember
Was it
exactly.
26 hours?
For the latest one, because the video that I showed you, that one was the record that they had first beaten in 2020, I believe, or it's beginning of 2020,
Yeah.
and it was redone during the pandemic when the highways were open, and
Where everything was clear.
yeah, obviously they beat the record then because
Yeah.
it was like 24 hours, but it didn't really count just because like there's just like no traffic, that was just
Oh, they didn't count it?
they didn't count it. No.
Damn. But yeah, you were telling me there's also like in the video too, if you look it up, there people have spotters and shit. You were telling me that they have spotters.
Yeah, which is really cool. I forgot to tell you that they also have so these guys come like as a big group. So they'll come in a group of 3 in the car. Sometimes it depends on the car, space and all this, weight. There's a
Right.
lot of factors that go into the car and how the record's gonna be beaten. But there's times where they'll have in different states they'll have people like people they know, or something like that, just friends, family.
Yeah.
They'll have them be spotters. So before they come through this portion of the highway, they'll have spotters that go like a few miles ahead of them and look out for any like police like on the medians, waiting for people to speed past so that they can notify them, let them know there's a cop ahead of you.
Oh yeah, because these guys are going like 100 miles per hour for like 24 hours straight,
Oh,
basically, right?
They're averaging like over 120, like maybe 120 miles per hour is like average
Yeah.
speed.
It's just fucking wild. I just don't even understand how I just don't even understand. That's crazy, dude. I mean,
No.
you're going 100 miles per hour for like 24 fucking, or you're averaging out at that. Obviously, you're not going to be hitting that for the entire time.
Yeah.
But that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Jesus Christ.
And sometimes they put in like big fuel cells for extra gas, so
Oh, do they?
less Phillips, yeah.
Yo, that's crazy. Yo, I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I just don't think I could ever do that.
No?
I don't know. I mean, you're talking about you're constantly going over 100 miles
Yeah.
per hour
There's
for over a day.
There's a factor of danger in that,
No, yeah, because it's just like, bro, like, how do you keep that up? I mean, you're fucking exhausted, and you're supposed to be flying on the highway.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Man, I don't even know if I'd want to be in a car with someone that was doing it, man. I don't know. Maybe I'll like drive behind you or something like
Yeah.
that and watch. But or actually, no, I'd get fucking dusted.
No, the moment you try to like get behind the car's
Yeah.
gone miles away.
Oh yeah, shit is fucked,
But
bro.
there was a podcast that I saw from hold on, let me see, VinWiki, the from VinWiki. They're like a car-esque podcast.
Shout out VinWiki. I don't know who they are, but go
Yep.
check them out.
Yeah, shout out VinWiki. They have a really cool podcast on the story of this Audi that they dressed up to look like a mix of a Audi, a Ford, the Ford Taurus, the Police Interceptor version, and another car. And basically, they use it to blend in.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the car, like from certain angles, you can't tell exactly what kind of car it is. But if you know what it is, you could tell right away. Like it's an Audi. They changed some of the badges on it, and it's dressed up really well. It's really cool.
So they disguised this Audi as a what again? Sorry.
As a Ford Taurus, the police interceptors.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Yo, that's funny.
yeah.
What the hell?
They like put covers over some of the lights to like
Do they use Ford? Where do they use Ford Tauruses actually? Because I feel like over here you only ever see the Ford Edges and shit.
that's mainly like the Ford Taurus, the ones that have like the big body in the back.
Yeah. I know. I know what the
Yeah,
Ford
okay.
Tauruses, but I feel like I wonder where they
I think it's mainly like state police.
say police.
Yeah.
You know what? You're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder why there's that distinction then between having like an SUV
Yeah.
or Loki. I probably want to. I think I might actually look into that. But yeah, well, let's talk about something a little controversial.
Okay.
We're gonna get into some muddy waters here, so people might get offended. I don't know. Who knows? It's just whatever. So basically, I don't really watch the Nelk Boys or anything like that. I mean, I think sometimes their content can be funny, but I'm not like super into their stuff like that. If you guys don't know who they are, they're basically just like a YouTube group, and they do a lot of pranks and a lot of kind of Chad-esque videos, if you know what I'm saying. But anyways, they have a podcast called the Full Send Podcast. Shout out to them, obviously, a million times bigger than us for now. But anyways, the Full Send Podcast. They got Donald Trump on as a guest, which is interesting, right? Because he was
Right.
the former fucking president.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you think of him, he was the former president, right? So it's definitely interesting that they got him on. I mean, it's like if we got on Barack Obama, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be more of a what the fuck, because we're still on some of the low spectrum, but whatever, right? Future tense. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And their video got deleted from YouTube, and that kind of sparked some controversy because people were basically saying, "Oh, why did YouTube do this? Like, why did YouTube censor them and delete the video?" And then I was watching. If you guys know who Logan Paul is, the Impulsive podcast, and they brought Dana White on as a guest, where Dana talks about how he got Donald Trump to be on the podcast for the Nelk Boys for the Full Send podcast. And then, well, he was obviously irate about the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can go watch that. I actually would recommend that if you guys know who Dana White is or anything about the fighting game or whatever. I think it was pretty interesting. The Impulsive episode that came out with Dana White, I think it was very interesting. Like the last, I want to say like 40 minutes of the episode was pretty interesting. I liked maybe I'm not gonna say I liked, but I found what they were talking about pretty interesting. I felt like they were very open, and they talked about a lot of things that normally, people don't really talk about because
Right.
I mean, obviously
Just
in kind of
trying to stay away from those types of
trying to stay away from drama and just be very neutral. Because unfortunately now we live in kind of that kind of like cancel culture, which is kind of fuck. I mean, to an extent, I agree that some people definitely do need to be taken off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like nowadays it's just becoming way. I think it's just I don't know. It's
Out of
way
hand.
overboard. Yeah, it's out of hand, and it's just all this to say though, basically that in that podcast, Dana White had said that it was and some people are probably gonna be like, he's dragging it. It's not that deep. But I kind of do agree though. I mean, I think it definitely is a little scary. Maybe scary is not the right word, but I think it's definitely a little
alarming.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like alarming to see that. I mean, ultimately that's their right. right? They're a
Yeah.
company and they can do whatever the fuck they want, right? They don't have to put any of their shit on YouTube, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not like trying to argue at them from that aspect. But what I am saying is just that because I feel like YouTube isn't the only platform to do this. There's a lot of platforms, and
Yeah.
of course they have the right to do that. But I think it's just interesting that nowadays I feel like you can't really have like
Free
an opinion on
press.
certain matters.
Hmm.
Like I think even like yeah, I mean like Dana White has said in that podcast that he believes that even like the worst of the worst deserve an opinion, and I mean I kind of do agree with that
Yeah.
sentiment to an extent, right? Obviously,
I mean, I think everybody deserves to be heard. You know.
yeah, at least even if their opinions are like fucking batshit crazy, like on some Alex Jones shit, right, or
Right.
whatever, some crazy ass like yeah, go
Actually,
ahead.
speaking of Alex Jones, right before we started talking about the Donald Trump thing, I saw they made the Full Send podcast just got Alex Jones on there.
Oh, they just like release one.
I just saw like on their Snapchat, like they posted a link. Alex Jones is on the podcast.
Whoa, yo. So yeah, definitely go check that out too if you guys
Yeah.
are into that. It might be interesting. Alex Jones is a pretty funny character, but that's we can talk about that another day.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I mean, I just think it's alarming that nowadays I feel like censorship's becoming very big. I feel like it's always been a thing, but I guess the point that I'm trying to get at is that it's interesting that nowadays I feel like if you have an opinion that's largely disagreed with, it's kind of like nah, shut up, like you're trying to be silenced, you're trying to be
Yeah.
censored. They kind of want to get you up out of the way,
Yeah.
and I feel like it was very evident with everything that went on in the world the past 2 years, which you know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
We don't need to get into that again. I think ultimately, I feel like I don't know if I've said it before, but I don't really want to get into those things on this podcast because I feel like those things can start to get very kind of political and they can start to get very toxic. And I just never wanted to bring it up. I brought this up because I feel like it's relevant to what we do. And so obviously, if you're watching it, then you're into internet content, right? Whether it be YouTube or Twitch or podcast or whatever, this is all internet content. So I just found it interesting that's going on, and so yeah, I don't know. Everybody has their own opinions. Well, what's your opinion on it?
I don't. I mean, YouTube taking that off kind of is like, like I said, it's kind of alarming. That some like even if it wasn't just like that, um, man, it's like it's hard to say.
You don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, but it's alarming to me that they're taking that off, especially since in the podcast,
Yeah.
Donald Trump was saying that.
I think the reason why YouTube claimed because I totally just remembered now. The reason why YouTube the claim for the reason that they removed the video, Jesus, I can't even talk, is that in that podcast they were talking about the voter fraud or whatever. I don't know if one of the guys from that podcast, from the Full Send podcast, had mentioned it, or if Donald Trump had brought it up. But I think somewhere in the podcast they talked about like the voter fraud or whatever.
Uh huh.
And so, but I don't know. I don't really see like what's the problem. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I feel like there's all sorts of fucked up shit on you. I mean, dude, literally,
Just wait.
this is gonna go up on YouTube, so watch the shit. Nah, we're too small for us to get fucking canceled off of YouTube or whatever for our shit to get flagged or deleted or hey, who knows? But anyways, like what I'm trying to say is that this is like a whole thing. Apparently, this is gonna get pretty dark. So I'm just gonna just warn you on YouTube, and I definitely would not recommend that you look this up. And I know there's gonna be some of you freaks out there that are gonna look it up. Just don't get me wrong, I'm one of those freaks. But there's a lot of like videos on YouTube of like monkeys getting like abused. This is like a huge phenomenon. Like you can look this shit up.
What the hell?
Maybe that's not the right word, phenomenon. But this is a very big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to go very far on YouTube to find videos of monkeys being mistreated or like tortured or abused or whatever. Not tortured, but being like abused. And this is a very big thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know who. And I think the theory. Sorry, I'm rambling. I think the theory behind the monkey videos is that some people kind of have like maybe not like a fetish, but they have like a whatever. They have like a thing, and so they imagine those monkeys as like babies, which that's really fucking wild.
Yeah.
That's super fucked up, man. Jesus, there's so much fucked up shit that we can get. That we can have a whole, probably have like an hour and a half podcast about, but. I don't know. I probably saved that for another thing. I didn't really want to throw that in there, but I brought it up just to say that I don't know. I think that there is definitely fucked up shit on YouTube,
Hmm.
and I don't understand why they felt the need to take off that podcast because they were talking about the fucking voter fraud.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially since it was just mentioned in like a small portion of the podcast. The whole podcast wasn't about the
you know,
voter fraud. You know, if the
yeah,
whole
because you did watch it, right?
yeah, I watched the full thing, and the whole thing wasn't even about the voter fraud. It was a small portion of the podcast. It came up. It came up in conversation. And
Who brought it up?
I don't remember exactly. They were talking something about like free press. Like I was gonna say is Donald Trump was saying that they were that the media basically wants to block him out and
Oh, okay.
suppress his voice. Basically, how he got banned on Twitter.
I mean, they didn't try. They did.
Yeah,
I mean, they got his ass up out of here, bro.
yeah. Uh, so he was saying that he's like he didn't really necessarily bet them, but he was like they're gonna delete your podcast within 24 hours.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, within the podcast, he did say because this is in it. You can find it on Spotify. Actually, yeah, totally didn't even mention that. You can find it on Spotify. I don't know if they post the Full Send podcast on other things, but I know you can find it on Spotify because I did watch it briefly, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he had said in the podcast, he says that they're gonna take your podcast down.
Yeah,
they're gonna get rid of it
because
and,
of the stuff that he talks about.
Yeah, I think it's also. I don't know. I feel like I do think it's because of what they're talking about, but I feel like it also was kind of because of who he is, right?
Yeah,
It's
there's
just
a
kind
lot.
of the reality to it,
Just
right?
a lot of controversy around Donald Trump.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy around him, right? And everybody has an opinion on it, and yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a. I definitely don't think he's the greatest guy in the world, but I don't think he's the worst.
Right.
I fall somewhere in the middle. Like with most things, I tend to fall somewhat in the middle. I feel like nowadays everybody tries to take a very extremist side to things, and I feel like that can be bad to an extent. I mean, if you feel very strongly about him, I mean, who am I to sit here and be like, you can't feel very strongly about something, right? Ultimately, it's your own fucking business, right?
Yeah.
But I just think nowadays I feel like I don't know. I think it can also be unhealthy, because I feel like that can lead to like how YouTube tries to censor misinformation.
Right.
Because I feel like narratives pop up and people will carry those narratives to their grave. And I feel like all of us, we all kind of fall victim to it. We'll see something, like one thing, and then we think we know it.
Yeah.
I've fallen into that shit too. And it's definitely a bad habit. I feel like nowadays just because you can find information, especially like on social media or whatever, right?
Anywhere so easily.
Apple News or just YouTube, anything, right? You can just find information, at the snap of a fingers. I feel like it becomes easy to just be like, oh, I saw this. Oh, wow.
This is
That
what
guy's
I believe.
this guy's this and that guy's that. And,
Yeah.
and just run with that narrative forever. But, yeah. I mean, it is what it is, right? I just find it interesting. And, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Shit. I guess we'll see what ends up happening in the... I don't know. Do you think it's going to get worse? I feel like it definitely is going to get worse.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely going to get worse before it gets better. And it might not ever get better, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, like I said, I mean, they have every right as a company to remove whatever the
Right.
fuck that they want. But should you? I guess is the real question, right? I don't know. You watched the whole podcast, so I want to... I feel like we're still droning on about the podcast, but I just felt like it was just very interesting that they got him on the podcast, right? It's who he is.
That was mainly what caught my attention was, they got Donald Trump on there. Like, never seen Donald Trump on a podcast like that.
So you watched the full thing. Did you like it? Did you feel like it was informative? Like, how did you feel about the episode as a whole?
Honestly, throughout the whole podcast, a majority of it was Donald Trump talking, and I feel like, it felt very one-sided compared to like, if it was on a different type of podcast. But this,
What do you mean by the, like?
Like I feel like on certain different podcasts, but I don't know. I feel like that's just how Donald Trump talks, though. You know what? Actually, if I correct myself, I feel that's just how Donald Trump is as a person. Like, if you were to listen to like just him talk,
Like how he speaks in public.
Yeah, he just always pushes his side of the story, as the right
Oh,
side.
okay, right.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because within I'll probably talk a bit about that because when I was listening to it, he basically in the beginning It's like in the very beginning. This is in the very beginning. He talks about obviously everything that's going on with gas, which we just talked about as well.
Uh-huh.
It's all tying in full circle. But he talks about gas, and he basically talks about how when he was in office, that I think he was talking about oil because oil heavily influences the price of gas.
Right.
That they were getting oil at when he was when he was a president. That the United States was getting oil for $30-something a gallon or $30-something a barrel, right?
Yeah.
Is it $30-something a barrel? And now it's heading upwards of
over 100.
yeah, over $100, which is pretty alarming, right?
Right.
And so he essentially again I get why he's doing it, obviously. But he's basically trying to push the narrative that it was solely because of Biden, and as soon as he went in office that it all kind of went downhill. But that's not really true, because if you can look this up. If you look it up, it was already starting to trend towards hitting up, because even when he was about to leave office, while he was still president, but when he was getting closer to, like, your time's up, buddy, it had hit like $50 a barrel. So it was already rising.
Right.
And I mean, you could probably get into a whole other discussion about how, yeah, some of the things that Biden's doing are probably affecting it and making it go higher. But at least one thing that we do know is that regardless, it was already going up. So I do get what you're saying from the standpoint that I feel like he was really trying to push the fact that, like, when he was in office,
everything was great.
Yeah, which like that's not true. It's not wrong. It's not true at the same time. It's middle ground, of course, with everything. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get why he's doing that, obviously, right? Because it's almost like kind of like self-promotion in a sense. I know he wants to run again. So
he has a political agenda,
Yeah, of course, he's trying to get back into office, which
he actually basically hinted at it too during the podcast, saying that there's a 100% chance he might run again.
100% chance he might. I mean, he had already said it from the get-go. He said after he lost, he's like, I'm running again, man. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Right. You think you're going to see Kanye West tip his hat into the 2024 election?
The Rock?
Bro. I don't know. I don't really have a... I don't know. I guess, who knows? Maybe they would make good fucking presidents. But I don't know. I think just the idea of someone like The Rock or... Kanye West being president is just like, what? I mean, the idea of Trump becoming president was like, crazy. What the fuck? Yeah. It was like, yo, get this dude up out of here, bro. And then he actually won. And everybody was like, yo, what the? Yeah. And it was like doomsday because, everybody was like, yo, we're fucked. And obviously, if you're Hispanic, which we are, and it was kind of like, I never thought that it was going to be the way that people described it to be. I always kind of figured that people were over-dramatizing the situation. And ultimately, kind of, yes and no, I guess. Yes and no.
Yeah.
Definitely, he definitely was pushing for that reform. But, I don't know. I think there's also, I feel like what also people do sometimes don't take into consideration as well. And I'm not just speaking towards him. I'm just speaking for every other president. That a lot of times they are deporting criminals. You know what I mean? And it's just like, well, yeah, like, what the fuck? Like, you come into a country as an immigrant and you're starting shit, robbing people, killing shit, doing shit like that. I mean, yeah, you gotta bounce, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want someone like that, like here. There's a reason why citizens, I guess, they commit a crime here, they go through the justice system.
True. I mean, and there's nowhere to take you. You're from here, so fucking you wind up here, but...
Yeah.
I mean, so I definitely do think that stats, stats always lie, right? Most, pretty sure there's a statistic about how most statistics are false, which is, yeah, that's a real thing though. Yeah. There's a statistic not most, but like a certain percentage of statistics are false, which is pretty funny, right? Who knows? Maybe that one's false too. But anyways, yeah, I mean, we always end up fucking rambling, and then we end up segueing into other shit. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll end up seeing what happens with the 2024 election. Do you think Joe Biden will try to run again?
I don't know.
Do you think they'll let him run again? Do you think they'll vote him back into office? I feel like the hatred for Donald Trump, I feel like that kind of
dwindled. Kind of. It hasn't been there as...
I think it's either two things. I think it's either dwindled to the point where they'll be like, all right, fuck it. Or it'll still be so strong that it'll just be like, Joe Biden, if he, if they were to both, or put their hat in the ring, and it was them again,
Yeah.
I feel like it can either go two ways. It's
Yeah.
either Joe Biden landslides Donald Trump because the hatred is just so rampant,
Mhm.
or the hatred subsides and Trump wins, kind of like a decent little win, not like a landslide, but he gets he gets the win ultimately.
Right.
Who knows though? I do hope that we
Yeah.
see some new candidates, because I don't know. Trump was fucking I think Trump was just funny. Like I think he was just funny. I think he was just a goofy ass dude.
Mhm.
Very like clown aesthetic to him.
Yeah. Because it's just like how much different he sticks out from other
Yeah,
presidents.
and it's just like the way he talks. It's just like I've said this. I've said this before. I was like, I don't know. I don't understand why. I mean, obviously he has all the money in the world, but if his goal is to make money as a businessman, he should have just gone fucking SNL,
Yeah.
become a fucking comedian, man, because he's fucking hilarious. For a lot of things, he's funny. I don't know why the fuck he decided he wanted to be a fucking president, but whatever, man.
Mhm.
I don't know. Truth be told, I think let's just get some fresh faces, man.
Can you believe that our former president, was on what is it? Comedy Central
Was he?
on the roast of Justin Bieber, I believe.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's wild. I never really knew who the fuck Trump was before he became president, though. Like I really had never. I mean, I had heard of him, but like
Yeah.
he was just kind of like whatever. He was just like another random billionaire or whatever.
Yeah.
So he was just kind of like irrelevant to like a normal person's life, right?
Yeah.
So I was just like, and then obviously, all the news and all the dirt started coming out about him that he's out here doing all sorts of wild shit. But
Mhm.
y'all can do your own research for that. But I think we're gonna wrap it up for today's episode. We're gonna give our quick overview as always,
Mhm.
a little bit about what we talked about. So
Okay.
let's get it in.
Yeah. So
We talked about to begin with. We talked about
Hold on. I'm trying to.
we talked
yeah.
about different languages,
Mhm.
and we talked about how different languages can give you different perspectives.
Mhm.
So definitely, I mean, I think everybody should learn more than one language. I think
Yeah.
it's good to be bilingual, no matter the language.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, you could just kind of absorb a different culture in a different way, right? Watch, read, and speak to people of different language. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I think everybody if you only speak, ultimately, I'm not telling you what to do, but I think it's definitely, I mean, for both of us, we're bilingual, and yeah, I mean, I think it definitely is cool because you get to experience a different culture in a different way than if you were just kind of viewing it from sort of an outside perspective.
Yeah.
We talked a bit about driving on Pines Peak,
Mhm.
which or is it Pikes Peak?
Pikes.
Yeah, it's Pikes Peak. You
Yeah.
guys can go look that up on your own. And the Cannonball route.
Mhm.
Again, all very interesting stuff. If any of you are into cars like that, you definitely should look it up. And then we talked a little bit about censorship, media, and everybody's favorite, Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was it. Thank you very much for watching the podcast. Please, if you enjoyed, leave a like if you're watching this on YouTube. Hopefully YouTube don't take us down YouTube.
Please.
But leave a like on YouTube, or follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Share it if you enjoyed it. Share it with anybody else.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was it. We follow us on our social medias. We have Instagram, Twitter. Everything is linked in. Everything is linked in everything. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. And that was going to be it. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to another episode of the Sunday Chronicles podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for coming again.
Yeah. And we're out.
All right.
Okay, good night.